In a world obsessed with noise, the loudest voice often gets the attention, but not the respect, and certainly not the results. True strength is built in silence, forged in moments when no one's watching. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." He didn't say talk about it, he said be it, through quiet action, not loud declarations. This video is for those who are ready to leave behind the constant need for validation. For those who understand that growth doesn't come from talking about it, but from showing up relentlessly, day after day, while the world sleeps. We'll uncover 10 powerful lessons rooted in Stoic wisdom, real-world discipline, and personal power. Not the kind that needs to be broadcast, but the kind that radiates without a single word. Number 1. Let discipline make the noise. Seneca once wrote, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." That line captures the essence of silent discipline. The disciplined man doesn't tell you what he's doing, he simply becomes someone you can't ignore. He trains without telling the world. He reads without posting quotes. He grinds without broadcasting his schedule. Over time, his results do all the talking. While others post motivational captions, the man of discipline is moving quietly in the background. Focused, intentional, and dangerous. The noise isn't necessary. When your actions are powerful enough, your presence alone becomes impossible to overlook. However, this silence is not merely a strategy. Rather, it is a manifestation of our inner fortitude. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius would remind himself on a daily basis to be indifferent to what makes no difference. The individual who is disciplined does not care about attention in any way. A round of applause is irrelevant. It is not the opinion of the world that guides him. Regardless of whether or not anyone else sees him, he continues to tread his route. He is the kind of individual who does not require responsibility from outside sources. The way he speaks to himself is sufficient. He is so preoccupied with carrying out his goals that he does not discuss them with anyone. In addition, when he is confronted with distractions or whispers of uncertainty, he does not become anxious. Rather, he tightens his focus and leans further into the silence. Because that is where genuine development takes place, in the times when no one is watching and no one cares, except for him. These are the moments. In the modern society, where oversharing has become the norm, restraint is a sort of power that is both uncommon and potentially lethal. The man who does not speak, but demonstrates everything through his actions, rises to the status of untouchable. There is no applause for him when he performs. He is constructing for more long-term use. People are making an effort to be loud. His goal is to achieve legendary status. We were cautioned by Epictetus not to be content with only appearing to be good, but rather to actually be good. This is a lesson that the man who is disciplined has learnt. His objective is not to appear consistent. Rather, he wants to be consistent. The goal is not to appear powerful, but rather to be indestructible. The purpose of which is not to talk about greatness, but rather to earn it moment by minute in the silence of his own work. The reason that other people eventually take notice of him is not because he sought their attention. It's because he didn't give them any other option. The metamorphosis he underwent, his self-assurance, and the accomplishments he achieved speak more forcefully than anything he could have stated. And by that point, the distinction is readily apparent. In the midst of their conversation, he was constructing. He was becoming unstoppable while others were attempting to attract attention to themselves. Allow them to be perplexed. Just let them chat. Give them the opportunity to shine. Do not utter a single word at this time. Mostly due to the fact that if you live with discipline for a sufficient amount of time, You will become something that they are unable to describe, and they will be unable to look away. Number 2, you don't owe anyone an explanation. One of the strongest moves you can make is to go silent without warning. Epictetus reminded us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. That means disappearing, saying no, rejecting comfort. You might stop going to the same places, start saying no to old friends, and invest your time where no one else sees. People will ask questions, they might even judge you. But if you're constantly explaining yourself, you're still playing their game. The Stoic doesn't need to defend his transformation. He knows that real change makes people uncomfortable, and he's okay with that. Because remaining silent is not a sign of weakness, but rather of control. Furthermore, when you stop trying to explain yourself, you regain control of the situation. Those individuals who would not dare to live by your discipline are no longer to be justified by it. When you are around people who are afraid of commitment, you cease toning down your energy. Rather than letting someone else's discomfort with your development cause you to lose your momentum, you quit doing so. In his writings, Marcus Aurelius expressed the belief that the opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know anything about the subject. What is the point of explaining your trip to individuals who have not yet embarked on their own journey? Why should you defend your silence to people who want to distract themselves with noise? They are not entitled to your comfort. You do not owe them access to your time. Furthermore, you do not owe them a summary of your self-mastery in any way, shape, or form. As soon as you start to change that is genuine, it will be a threat to people. This is not because you are trying to hurt them. Rather, it is because your progress mirrors their lack of progress. They have no choice but to accept their own inaction because of your silence. And that is a source of discomfort. In order for them to question you, feel no shame. Your goal should be to get you back into their orbit. On the other hand, you must fight the temptation to explain. Let them be perplexed. Leaving questions unanswered is a powerful decision that can be made. It is possible to find tranquility by leaving without making a statement. Additionally, there is an unrivaled strength that comes from allowing your new existence to speak for itself. As soon as you realize that you no longer have a need to be understood, you liberate yourself from the interpretations of other people. There is where clarity starts to emerge. It is in this place that genuine progress takes root. If you are evolving, you should do it to the fullest extent possible. Remove yourself from the map. Allow your absence to reverberate more loudly than any reasons you could possibly provide. Allow yourself to appear self-centered. Let yourself be open to being misunderstood. Simply because you will be constructing while they are talking. You will be actively creating while they are criticizing. It won't be necessary for you to say a word when they finally see the fruits of your efforts. We are not here to accept you as you are. Your goal is to become unidentifiable to everyone. Just let them chat. Allow them to speculate. You don't have anything to share with me. Number 3, move in silence, win in public. Victory doesn't require an announcement. The most dangerous moves are made when no one sees them coming. The Stoics taught the power of inward transformation, changing your thoughts, sharpening your mind, building your body, without letting the world in on the process. Why? Because when you finally emerge, your results will shock them. Your growth will be undeniable. You'll walk into rooms with a quiet power people can feel. That's the kind of presence silence builds, one that needs no introduction. When it comes to power, a warning shot is not necessary. There are no updates posted by it. It does not make the statement, "I'm coming." It has just showed up. It is not because you yelled that the world takes notice of you when it happens. Rather, it is because your presence speaks for itself. One of the weapons that the silent guy possesses is the ability to conceal his labor until it ultimately becomes indisputable. According to a quote attributed to Seneca, associate with people who are anticipated to improve you. The most important thing to keep in mind, however, is that one of the most potent associations you may create is with solitude. While you are alone and away from the throng, you are able to cultivate qualities that others are unable to: unwavering composure, laser-like focus, and a personal standard that does not require comparison. And then one day, you walk into that boardroom, into that gym, into that arena of life, and you notice that something has changed. Nobody can quite put their finger on it. You failed to make any statements. You did not make an effort to differentiate yourself. However, as your aura does, this is the effect of preparation occurring in silence. The energy that it generates is so powerful that it does not require any announcement, since it cannot be ignored. When you are working hard behind closed doors, whether it be reading when others are scrolling, working out when others are talking, or working when others are resting, you are amassing hidden successes. And those victories add up over time. Every day you become more alert, more difficult to shake, more difficult to read, and more difficult to stop. What you are doing does not require you to demonstrate it to anyone. In point of fact, it is preferable for them to be unaware of the situation. Allow them to devalue your abilities. Allow them to believe that nothing has changed. After that, make sure that your subsequent action is something that they did not anticipate. The purpose of this is not to disprove their claims. It is about demonstrating that you are correct. Your mental scoreboard is the only one that matters. It is the only scoreboard that matters. Without uttering a single word, you gain a quiet victory so that you might show up loudly. So keep quiet as you travel. Construct in the shadows. Make a change at a place where no one is looking. In addition, when the time is appropriate, you should go forward, not to boast or brag, but just to accept what you've earned. Number 4. Train when it's inconvenient. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." The man who only works when it's easy will never rise above the crowd. But the man who shows up in the dark, who trains when he's tired, learns when he's drained, and fights when it's lonely, that man becomes unstoppable. He doesn't need to be pushed. His fuel doesn't come from likes or claps. It comes from something deeper, his own commitment to excellence. It's that quiet fire inside that pushes him through the hardest days, while everyone else quits. To put it another way, this is the distinction between discipline and incentive. It is the perfect attitude, the perfect soundtrack, and the perfect weather that are necessary for motivation to emerge. In the midst of a storm, when it is raining, when there is quiet, and when there is a storm, discipline arrives uninvited and unexpected. That is because the one who exercises during times when it is inconvenient is not simply developing a skill. He is constructing armor. Epictetus held the belief that adversity was the purest source of character development. The phrase, "difficulties show men what they are," was uttered by him. When your legs hurt, when your head is cloudy, and when you have every reason to sit it out, but you still get up, nevertheless, that is the moment when you find out who you truly are. When you put up a fight, rather than when you are comfortable, you discover what you are made of. Not only does training when it is inconvenient enhance your body, but it also brings to a strengthening of your soul. Repeatedly, You demonstrate to yourself that you are not going to give in when you are under duress, that you are able to perform even when you do not feel like it, that you are able to take charge of your own life when no one else is looking. To tell you the truth, the majority of people only show up when the weather is quite sunny, when there is a lot of energy, when there are people watching, and when there is the possibility of applause. But it is in the shadows that legends are created. Long hours, early mornings, freezing nights, and missing out on parties are things that go into making them. When nobody else cares, but for you, they are created. Whenever other people opt for sleep, you opt for sweating. Distraction is the option that you choose when they choose distraction. In the meantime, you are making preparations. Greatness does not come to those who are the most skilled. Rather, it comes to those who are the most consistent. Particularly in situations where uniformity is inconvenient. Take a moment to pause the next time your body tells you, "Not today," while your mind pleads for you to relax. Move on then. Prove to yourself that you are not bound by the constraints of comfort. I have some tasks for you to do, not because it is simple to do, nevertheless, because it is essential. We don't wait for the perfect circumstances to come about. This is the secret code of the powerful. We are the ones who make them. Grit, repetition, and showing up are the means by which we achieve our goals, particularly when we do not feel like doing so. Number 5, silence is a shield. In the modern world, oversharing is the default. Everyone is posting their plans, their meals, their progress, and their goals. But Marcus Aurelius warned us against this ego trap when he said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Don't fight for attention. Don't fall into the same pattern. Silence protects your energy. It keeps your mind sharp and your goals clean. Every time you share too much, you dilute your power. You invite resistance. But when you keep your circle tight and your plans to yourself, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. The instant you begin to speak prematurely about your aspirations, your actions, and your vision, you are providing the world with ammo. The desire to triumph is not shared by all. Some people are trying to divert your attention. There are some individuals who wish to compete with you. Moreover, there are those who wish to imitate your approach in order to outrun you to the finish line. Nevertheless, if you maintain your silence, there is nothing for them to try to grasp onto. There was no way to assault. There is no map to find. It's not just about mystery when it comes to silence. It's about mastery. In other words, it is about conserving energy that would otherwise be wasted on explaining yourself, proving yourself, and defending your goals. Stoics were fully aware of this fact. They held the belief that minimizing noise from the outside world may help restore inner serenity. It is through refusing to publicize your intentions that you are able to maintain your attention in a chaotic surroundings. According to Epictetus, be silent for the most part, or if you speak, say only what is necessary and try to say it in as few words as possible. That is not merely a quotation. Rather, it is a blueprint. The strength that you choose to keep for yourself is reflected in every word that you choose not to speak, every post that you choose not to publish, and every information that you choose to guard. You prevent other people from having access to your thoughts when you move in silence. You don't give them the opportunity to question your judgment, to criticize you, or to divert your attention anywhere else. Your path is shielded from the turbulence that is caused by the opinions of others. And this indicates that you are able to move with clarity, so with full assurance, in a direction that cannot be shaken. Your lack of discussion turns become a barrier. In the background, you construct your planet one brick at a time. This is a private failure. It is a private education. You adjust in a covert manner. After that, you show up one day when all of the job has been completed. Totally developed, unrequired to have approval, having no desire for applause. Simply coming into the limelight with the composed presence of someone who is no longer required to provide any explanations for anything. Be careful not to be fooled by the commotion. When it comes to peace, the majority of those who talk the loudest are the most noisy. When you want to be powerful, you don't have to shout. In point of fact, the man who is the least likely to speak up is typically the most dangerous person in the room. So put on your quiet like a suit of armor. Keep it safe. Make use of it. Assume that this is the area in which you will construct your next move. For the reason that you are not absent while you are silent. Rather, you are preparing. Number 6. Let failure teach you quietly. The Stoics didn't fear failure. They studied it. They understood that setbacks are not shameful. What matters is how you respond. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You don't need to explain why you failed. You don't need to post a comeback story. Take the hit in silence. Learn from it. Adjust. Sharpen the blade. Your response is the lesson, and the more privately you rebuild, the more powerful you become. The Stoics believed that failure was not the same thing as defeat. This is data. It's a mirror there. It sheds light on what is lacking, what is ambiguous, and what is not perfectly aligned. And that kind of truth is a gift. But it is only a gift if you are willing to sit with it, without flinching, without making excuses, and without the urge to narrate it for other people. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This is a quote that he made to himself. To put it another way, failure is only painful if you allow it to define who you are. Nevertheless, if you put it to use, if you mine it for wisdom, it transforms into fuel. People have a tendency to anticipate the typical antics that occur when you lose, such as the dramatic posts, the hollow promises of a return, and the noise. After a failure, however, there is a change that occurs when you become quiet. The message you are sending is not one of defeat, rather it is one of transformation. You are working, as shown by that silence. You are rethinking your business strategy. You are transforming into something that is more intelligent, more powerful, and more dangerous than you were before. Your wounds are not something that the world needs to witness. It is not necessary for it to listen to your justifications. Allow them to make assumptions. Allow them to forget. Allow yourself to be written off. While that is going on, you are constructing in the shadows. You are doing an excellent job of learning the material. You will not be accompanied by noise when you rise. Rather, you will be accompanied by results. Failure serves as a performance for the majority of people. They are looking for attention, validation, and pity. However, this depletes you. The attention is placed on the incorrect thing, which is perception rather than advancement. One who is stoic is a quiet learner. Without bringing his ego into the equation, he allows the suffering to do its work. Because, as the saying goes, every failure, every mistake, and every fall is a natural and inevitable part of the process. You were not expected to be flawless in any way. Your identity was meant to be fabricated. Being able to walk through flames without yelling for applause is a must for this. Don't make it public that you've failed, because you will fail someday. It is yours. Look into it. Grow out of it, without making any noise. And one day, when they see what you've become, they will inquire as to how you managed to turn it around. Nevertheless, They will never comprehend the wars that you fought in silence. That's all good, because such fights were never meant to be fought by them. Your needs were being met. Number 7. Your work ethic should scare people. The moment will come when someone finally sees the version of you that's been quietly in the works. They'll ask, "When did you do all this?" But they didn't see the 5 a.m. workouts, the nights you said no to pleasure, the weekends you spent building. You didn't talk about it. You became it. That's why it's terrifying, because your evolution didn't come with a warning. It just arrived. And the people who dismissed you won't even know how to process who you've become. That's real power, not in noise, but in results. It was the Stoics who preached that true strength is not displayed, but rather demonstrated. According to Marcus Aurelius, do not waste any more time arguing about what a good man ought to be. The phrase "be one," and that's it. The hustling should not be posted about. You should not ask for applause. Do your work. Allow the change to take place under the cover of darkness. After the curtain is drawn back, there is complete silence in the room. One of the few things that cannot be faked is one's ethic toward their work. There is no way to outsource it. It cannot be purchased. There is no way to know if you have it or not. And people are able to sense that you have conditioned yourself to continue showing up day after day, regardless of how you feel or how much attention you receive. They have the ability to differentiate between someone who is just learning the ropes and someone who poses a threat. Being constant makes you more dangerous than you were before. Moreover, it is the calm consistency that distinguishes you from others, mainly due to the fact that the majority of individuals are noisy at the beginning, but quiet at the end. But the man who is disciplined turns that around. He begins in a state of stillness and concludes in a position of authority. Because of this, people should be frightened by your work ethic, because it demonstrates to them what is possible when an individual quits waiting for motivation and begins living with a purpose. At some point during each and every grind, you will come to the realization that you are not simply gaining skills. You are creating a wall of isolation. There are some people who are simply not willing to go in the direction that you are going. During the time that they are attempting to get seen, you are working hard to become indisputable. Once upon a time, Epictetus issued a warning, saying, "If you wish to be improved, be content to be thought foolish and insane." This signifies that you will be misunderstood when you are participating in the battle. Being ridiculed for missing the party, the trends, and the distractions is what it means to be mocked. However, when your work ethic is ultimately put to the test, it calls out. Instead of using words, you should use presence, with authority, with great accuracy. When you know how many repetitions you did by yourself, your walking becomes different. When you have established your self-assurance on the foundation of private discipline, you speak differently. The people have that feeling. Although they are unsure of what it is, it causes them to feel uneasy, simply because it brings to mind everything that they have not yet accomplished. Carry on moving in complete silence. The choices you make every day will compound. Allow your routine to become your ghost. Ever there, always working, and always keeping an eye on you. Because at some point in time, somebody is going to look at you and realize that they are unable to keep up with you. Also, it won't be because you brought it up in conversation. The reason for this is that you have outworked every doubt that they had. Number 8, control the only thing you truly own. Your mind, your effort, your choices. Everything else is unpredictable. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you internalize this truth, you stop complaining, you stop blaming. It's easy to get caught up in everything happening around us, the chaos, the distractions, the people pushing their agendas, the unexpected problems that knock us off course. But none of that truly controls you unless you give it permission. The only real control you have is over your own thoughts, your effort, and the choices you make each day. That's the foundation of silent strength. When Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of things," he imparted a great level of knowledge regarding this topic. This indicates that the events that occur outside of you do not cause you harm. Rather, it is your response to those occurrences that causes you harm. You will acquire an unshakable power if you are able to master your mind. No storm will be able to bring you down. When you have a complete understanding of this, everything will change. You refrain from squandering your energy on wrath, annoyance, or attempting to exert control over something that is beyond your ability to do so. You instead direct that energy toward things that you have the ability to control, such as your routines, your discipline, and your thinking. Day by day, you push yourself in a manner that is both silent and brutal, slowly but surely constructing an inner fortress that no outside power can breach. When it comes to actual resilience, this is the essence. Neither boasting nor making a lot of noise is the point. It is about silently recognizing that you are accountable for your thinking, your effort, and the decisions you make, regardless of the craziness that is occurring outside. You will become unstoppable once you come to terms with this obligation in its entirety. Keep in mind that this is the factor that differentiates individuals who crumble under the pressure of life from those who pick themselves up and get stronger each time. This frame of mind is the most significant possession you possess. A vigilant watch over it, feed it on a daily basis, mostly due to the fact that when you have control over your mind and your efforts, you have power over your destiny, regardless of what the world throws at you. Because your mind is the only thing that truly belongs to you. It is both your biggest battlefield and your greatest conquest. Respect it in private. Hold on to it with tenacity. As you do so, see the way in which your life changes from the inside out. Number 9. Rewards come after the silence. For a long time, nothing will happen. You'll be grinding in the dark. You'll be building while no one claps. But Stoic philosophy teaches patience. Seneca said, "It does not matter what you bear, but how you bear it." Silence tests you. The weight tests you. The question is, can you keep going when no one's noticing? This is the hardest part. The phase where progress seems invisible, where your efforts feel like they disappear into a void. It's easy to get discouraged when the world doesn't acknowledge your work, when no one celebrates your small victories, and when every step forward feels lonely. But this silence is not your enemy. It's your proving ground. Time is a sort of river of passing events, and strong is its current, Marcus Aurelius said. No sooner is a thing brought to sight than it is swept by, and another takes its place, and this too will be swept away. Time is a river of passing events. To put it another way, recognition is a transient notion. The actual focus needs to be on the consistent and unrelenting effort that you're putting forth below the surface, where you are not receiving any applause. The teachings of Epictetus suggest that you should never allow extrinsic incentives to serve as your motivation. Don't explain your philosophy. Put it into action. Who you are is precisely determined by the work that you do when no one is looking. The period of silence lays the groundwork for your future successes, which will be rock solid, unshakable, and absolutely indisputable. Through the practice of silently pushing oneself, you can cultivate patience and resilience. You come to realize that the prize always comes after the hard work and never comes before it. This teaches you to have faith in the process. The clapping comes after the stillness, and the acknowledgement does not come until after your efforts have actually had a positive impact on the world. You are going to be the one to own the triumph season if you are able to persevere through this quiet season. If you are able to continue showing up, grinding, and growing when no one is watching, rather than being a fleeting occurrence, your accomplishments will serve as a powerful and enduring demonstration of your self-control and determination. Thus, make peace with the void. Put your faith in the endurance. Because the world won't start watching until after you've already completed the work, you should continue to work tirelessly in the shadows. Those who push themselves in private and succeed in public are the ones who are truly following the right path. Number 10. Become the person no one saw coming. The ultimate goal isn't to be seen, it's to be felt. To become the kind of man whose energy walks into the room before he speaks. The kind of man people respect without knowing why. That's what silent discipline creates. This presence is born not from loud declarations or public recognition, but from countless hours of quiet, focused effort. It's the power cultivated in the shadows, the discipline to keep going when no one is watching, the resilience to push through setbacks without complaint, and the wisdom to understand that true growth happens within. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. As soon as you succeed in reaching this level, your presence will become magnetic. Without having to hear a single word from you, people are able to perceive the self-assurance, the calmness, and the power that you exude. Because it is a silent authority, it compels respect and alters the energy of any room that you enter. To add insult to injury, when the time comes, when the moment finally arrives, you will look back and realize that the stillness was not empty. It was a holy place. Because of the coon, you underwent a transformation. While you were in that state of silence, you were able to break old habits, establish new foundations, and get yourself ready to emerge more powerful and capable than you were before. There is no need for you to provide an explanation of your path or to convince anyone of your value. The story will be told by your actions, your demeanor, and every aspect of your existence. They will be aware of who you are because the job that you have done in silence has produced an unquestionable reality. The Stoics instruct us to concentrate on the aspects of ourselves that we are able to influence, such as our acts, our ideas, and our character, and to let the rest pass as it may. Doing so will make you unmovable and unshakable. The one who no one saw coming is not a mystery. Rather, it is the man who quietly mastered himself and then appeared fully formed before everyone else. The ultimate strength of silent discipline lies in the transformation that transcends words and manifests itself in presence, impact, and change that is long-lasting. It is not because it is poetic or trendy to push yourself in silence. Rather, it is because it is effective, mostly due to the fact that the real work takes place in silence. Because you do not require attention, rather, you require development. Furthermore, according to the Stoics, who recognized this concept thousands of years ago, genuine authority never yells. It is the case. Then, if you feel the need to, vanish, remain silent, work on your own, allow your acts to reverberate in areas that your words have never covered. When will it be the appropriate time? Allow everyone to experience what you have become. As there was no sound,